Have you heard the latest info? HoYoverse, the team behind games like Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact, just got slapped with a $20 million fine by the FTC. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. New rules are coming that could seriously shake up how gacha systems work. If you're wondering what this means for us as players, stick around because we've got a lot to talk about today. Save up to 23% on the Herta banner at lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description. The information I'm sharing in this video is specific to the recent FTC rulings in the United States and primarily applies to US-based players. If you're under 16 and have been making in-game purchases without your parents' consent, these changes will directly impact how you interact with the game. Keep in mind that while this ruling addresses some global concerns about gacha systems, its legal implications are specific to the US audience. Let's break down what exactly went wrong for HoYoverse and why this fine is a big deal. On January 17th, the FTC announced that HoYoverse had agreed to pay a hefty $20 million penalty after being accused of deceptive practices involving their gacha system. The core of the issue lies in how they marketed and structured their loot boxes, or as we call it, gacha, in a way that allegedly misled players, especially younger ones. For instance, the FTC alleged that HoYoverse created a system that obscured the true cost of pulling for rare 5-star characters. We all know the pain of grinding stellar jades, converting them into passes, and spending them on banners with no guarantee of getting the unit we want. According to the FTC, this system wasn't just frustrating, it was purposefully confusing, making it harder for players to calculate how much real money they were spending. It gets worse. The FTC also highlighted how the flashy in-game banners and event promotions were designed to create a sense of urgency, nudging players to spend quickly. And to top it off, there were allegations that HoYoverse violated children's privacy laws by collecting personal information from players under 13 without parental consent. This included tracking data and analytics, which were shared with third-party services. The combination of deceptive marketing and data privacy violations created a perfect storm, forcing HoYoverse to settle the case and agree to new restrictions. It's a clear message that even the biggest developers need to be more responsible in how they handle both their gacha systems and player data. Now let's talk about what HoYoverse has agreed to do differently moving forward. And these changes could affect how we interact with gacha banners in the future. First, parental consent for players under 16. One major change is that players under the age of 16 will now need explicit parental consent before they can make in-game purchases. This means no more sneaking in pulls without your parents' knowledge. For younger players, this could drastically limit access to banners unless their parents are directly involved in the purchasing process. Second, simplifying the currency system. If you've ever tried to figure out exactly how much real money you've spent on stellar jades, you know how tricky it can be. The FTC flagged this as a deliberate attempt to confuse players. Moving forward, HoYoverse will need to provide an option to directly purchase pulls with real money alongside the current multi-tiered system. This change could make the process less confusing for players who just want to pull without navigating a maze of virtual currency conversions. Third, clearer odds for gacha. Let's face it, most of us have questioned whether the pull rates HoYoverse advertises are accurate. Now they'll be required to clearly display the real odds of pulling specific characters or weapons. No more fine print or vague percentages. Players will know exactly what they're getting into before spending their stellar jades. These changes aim to make the gacha system more transparent and reduce its predatory aspects, particularly for younger audiences. However, it's worth considering how these adjustments might impact the overall experience for all players. Will they make pulling less exciting, or will the added clarity create a more balanced system? These changes could make the gacha experience less confusing, but they might also take away some of the excitement. Part of the fun in pulling is the suspense, right? Knowing everything up front, odds, costs, everything, might make it feel a bit too transactional. On the other hand, transparency is a good thing. Knowing exactly what you're getting into could help players make smarter decisions and avoid spending more than they planned. This ruling isn't just about Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, it's about the entire gaming industry. Gacha mechanics are a huge moneymaker, and this could set a precedent for other games. If HoYoverse has to change how they handle gacha, other developers might follow suit. Games with loot box systems, even outside of gacha games, could start facing similar scrutiny. This might be the beginning of a new era for how games monetize their content. The settlement still needs to be approved by a federal judge, but once that happens, HoYoverse will have to act fast. We might start seeing these updates in Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, and their other games within the next few months. So, what do you think? Will these changes make Star Rail and other gacha games better? Or do you worry they'll lose some of their charm? And how do you feel about the $20 million fine? Is it enough to make developers think twice about how they handle gacha systems? Drop your thoughts in the comments.